The New York Police Department has released the tape of James Blake being tackled by one of its police officials. We're going to take a look at it right now, so let's see.
Okay, so guy in the white shirt is undercover cop. James Blake, the fairly famous tennis star, but apparently not famous enough for that cop to notice. He gets tackled right there.
Yes.
I remember the old days when the cops would say things like, freeze.
Put your hands up.
Right? Before they threw you to the ground.
Yes. How many did they have there? 5, right? Cops?
They had 5 cops. That
So, I
one
mean,
guy on tape obviously is the one that tackled him.
Surround him. Say, police were about to arrest you. I mean, I like it in a sense. My first thought was use the freeze, but I don't really want them to take out their gun because suppose James Blake flinches, right?
Whatever happened to, here's my badge.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask you a couple questions.
I'd like to ask you a couple questions.
First, I'd like to identify myself as a police officer rather than some guy in a ski mask coming to tackle you in front of your hotel.
Right. I mean, think about what kind of reaction any reasonable person can have. I actually give James Blake all the credit in the world for not resisting in any way, shape, or form because he had no idea that was a cop. He did not show a badge. He's obviously in plain clothes. So any reasonable human being would probably try to fight back and defend themselves because they think some stranger's tackling them on the streets. But he didn't resist in any way, shape, or form, and thankfully it didn't end in anyone dying. But the police officer there is actually James Frascatore, and he has been sued 4 separate times for using excessive force. So he has had issues with similar incidents in the past.
How come everybody likes 3 strikes and you're out, except when it's like people in authority? Then it's like, no, 9 strikes and you're out.
Yeah.
Or 9 strikes and a warning.
9 strikes and you're finally on desk duty for now.
For now, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Blake's reaction was terrific, but, you know, in the police officer's defense, this was a dangerous criminal who'd been accused of credit card fraud.
Credit card fraud.
Yeah, that's right. So the guy's not even, I mean, they have no reason to expect that this will get violent. None. You have 5 cops, 1 guy walk up to him in an intimidating way. I get to do that. New York City Police Department, put your hands behind your back. That's it. It's done. That's it right there.
Wait, you don't put a ski mask on first? Tackle him?
I don't think
that's crazy.
Was he wearing
It's
he wasn't wearing a
crazy.
ski mask.
He was. No, look at it.
He's not
wearing
He's
The
wearing a
cop's
ski
not wearing a
mask
ski
or a
mask.
baklava or something. He's got something on his head.
A hat, I think.
I think it's a beanie.
It looked like it was pulled down over his face.
I think he's...
No,
it's
oh my God,
right.
you're
wearing
right.
It's a ski mask.
Oh my God, I thought he was just a bald dude.
No.
He's wearing a ski
Holy cow, that would have scared the living crap out of me.
Absolutely.
I love the people walking by nonchalantly. They're like, oh yeah, just business as usual here.
You know who wears ski masks and beat people up? Terrorists. That's what I would think.
And you're in New York, Jesus Christ! But I can't believe James Blake reacted that way.
Yeah.
If a dude in a ski mask tackled me, we'd have had issues, and then I'd be resisting arrest, and then next thing you know, God knows what happens.
You wouldn't be around.
But I mean,
That's mental.
We've seen it in every movie. They do this right before they rob the bank.
Yeah, and wait
The
a
good
minute.
guys don't wear ski masks.
No, and sometimes
really-
in super dangerous countries, like these days, unfortunately, in some parts of Mexico, the cops wear the masks so that the drug lords can't identify them and kill them later. Are we having a similar issue with credit card fraud in America? Where the cops are like, we're going after the credit card fraud guys, it's go time. Ski mask, tackle people in the middle of hotels in Manhattan. This is mental. And of course, William Bratton comes out and says 2 things that both are, troublesome and amuse me at the same time. This had nothing to do with race. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, remember all the white people they're tackling in the middle of Manhattan? I mean, how many advertising executives have gotten tackled today by the cops in ski masks, right? How many Wall Street bankers have gotten tackled over the last week?
I do remember Bernie Madoff was not tackled when he was brought in.
Yeah. And so, and the second thing is, he's like, no, I'd really like to meet James Blake and personally apologize. Because James Blake is famous, so, he gets a separate treatment. And he was there for corporate events to promote tennis in New York. So now they're like, oh, no, we didn't mean that. He's a rich, powerful black guy. Oh, God damn it. Tackle the other black guys. By the way, this isn't about race.
The guy they were looking for, he looks a little like James Blake, so they're thrilled with that fact. But it doesn't matter. You didn't have to tackle
Even
him.
with that guy,
You don't have to
just
tackle
show
that
him your
guy
ID and
either.
be like,
Just
we'd
arrest
like to
him.
bring you in.
Again, I like aggressiveness in police. It can diffuse the situation before there's a fuse lit. New York City Police, get your hands behind your back. Okay, stop yelling at me. Done. But no one's complaining afterwards. There's no vizzy.
And
also,
there was, since there's 5 of them, it's not like oh my God, backup's not going to make it in time. Surround him. We don't, and look, he might not be violent, but he could run away. We get it. We don't want him to run away. Surround him. Have one guy put the badge in his face. Why do you not have to identify yourself? Like, why is that a thing for cops?
Because there's 5 of them. If there was one cop, I think you'd have been like, let me do this by the book. But with 5, he goes, watch me take this guy down.
Yeah, maybe.
It's,
Look, I got in trouble with the cops once in Hoboken because they wouldn't show me a badge. Why is it, if you're a cop, why is it a problem for you to show a badge? Wouldn't it help your situation? Hey, let's everybody calm down. I am a cop, even though I'm undercover, and I look like a regular person, but I'm a cop, and so defuse, bring it down. No, I'm not going to show you anything. I don't have to show you anything. Oh, yeah, I'll arrest you, right? Okay, but then, dude, you made the situation 1,000 times worse. And then how do people, and then you help the robbers, too, because then the robbers going around, yeah, I'm a cop. I don't have to show you anything. Give me all your money, right? And by the way, the cops also do that, too. So now, boy, like in the old days, the cops didn't used to rob you. But now they can just come in and take all your stuff, and they say, oh, that's a seizure. Because
civil forfeiture.
Civil forfeiture. And now I just took all your stuff, and I took your car, and I carjacked you, and I did all this. And you have almost no chance of ever getting that stuff back, even if you're innocent, right? So now the cops jack you as much as the robbers do. The cops won't show you a badge. The robbers don't have a badge. How do you know the difference?
A couple of things here, just so.
I guess here's how you know the difference. I haven't seen a robber with a ski mask in a long time. If they're wearing a ski mask, they might be a cop.
I'm not seeing that in any story. I don't think he was wearing a ski mask. I know what it looks like.
You could see it.
I got it.
On the video.
Everyone James Blake would be would in his quote say, and this guy with a ski mask threw me to the ground. No, look, I hear you. I got it. It looks like a ski mask. It can't be.
It looks so much like a ski mask, I don't know what else it could be.
I got you, but how could he possibly be wearing a ski mask? He's a police officer.
I would think it's a little hot to be wearing one, but...
Oh, my God. Do they think they're in old school? It's go time. I didn't know tennis analogies then. I should have no tennis puns. My bad. All right, go ahead.
Do you have something you want to throw out?
No. All right. Okay. I'm going to just volley over to
Are you guys ready?
That was it? Volley over?
Yeah, I know. Horrible. Horrible.
So, Anna, before you begin again, I would like to correct Cenk's sort of foot fault from earlier where he couldn't come up with a clever tennis phrase. Because it just seems in this case that the cop was merely trying to serve a warrant on the suspect, but then he threw him to the ground, and that just seemed like an unforced error. And then later, Bill Bratton explained that James Blake looked like the twin brother of the criminal, which is really a backhanded compliment. Oh. Thank you very much.
Okay. I didn't catch the foot fault until your second pun. So, well done.
Come on, that was 4 in like 20 seconds.
Okay, not bad, not bad.